Hello world, it's your girl Becca Rose, and I'm here reporting from Gentilly, and I'm here with the producer, the singer-songwriter, the lyricist, the rapper-songwriter, Flighteous. It's Flighteous. So welcome.
How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I'm very excited. How you feeling?
I can't complain. I'm good.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's get into the music.
Ooh.
So first of all, New Orleans music. How do you define it?
It's versatile. It can be whatever it needs to be at any time. You know, it could be a pick me up. It could be a good friend. It could be whatever you need it to be.
Okay.
That's the best way I can describe it.
I hear that, and like, because when people think of New Orleans music, they probably think of bounce music first.
Mm-hmm.
Does that bother y'all as people from like NOLA, or is it kind of like, you know, it pretty much is the sound of?
People thinking of bounce music first doesn't bother me. Of course, like I think of jazz first, you know. But I think for a long time, especially like in the hip hop community, we got away from bounce, and it was kind of stigmatized. But like now, it's because mainstream culture kind of was trying to take it from us. It's like we trying to do a better job of taking it back.
Mm.
So I don't think people. I don't think it's as bad. I think when I was growing up, it was. There was like a stigma with bounce being like for the gay community, and so a lot of like hardcore like rapper guys like were like kind of like afraid of it. I think like we have to embrace every aspect of our culture, you know what I mean? And we have to take it all in. I think the evolution of bounce is like is become something like that's beautiful to watch. So it's dope like to see like bounce being like treated as its own genre, because it is derived from hip hop. You know, the call and response, and is also derived from like slave and spirituals. All that call and response, all that stuff is derived from the roots. You know, like Africa, the drums, like the drums, like the heartbeat, you know, that's all derived from like early African roots. So to see like New Orleans being in a position to be able to take our culture back and seeing people from all walks of life being able to accept it and adapt to it has been awesome to watch.
Okay, yeah. So what do you think of like someone like Big Freedia, who I love, like hitting the like mainstream scene and presenting bounce to, you know, the rest of the country? I
think the ascendance of Big Freedia is overdue. I think especially like in the 2010s and the early 2010s, like that 10-year span before like Freedia hit the mainstream, we kind of already knew what Freedia was culturally. And I think people's acceptance of the LGBTQ community, it kind of dragged Freedia's progression. Because like I said, Freedia, you have Sissy Nobi, you have all of these people who come from this background who should have been international superstars. And now to see Freedia at the point of superstardom, at the point of just being a household name is for me, I love to see it, but I also think it's a little late. It's not late, like get your bag, but I feel like we should have been saw this. Like it should have been happening.
Right, and like I feel like a lot of people are defensive over Big Freedia because, and I think that's once again going into like New Orleans culture and like having like you guys really safeguard your culture, your people, like y'all really look out for each other. Seeing Big Freedia dealing with mainstream, there's been a lot of like talks about like, you know, is she just like like, you know, a token of, okay, look, this is representation, or like, oh look, like, you know we're bringing it back to the culture, but like capitalizing off of it. Like, what do you say to people who are like defensive over Big Freedia? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you ease their mind, or like, you know, is there any way to ease their mind? Because it's like, yeah, we want to protect our people, we want to protect our own.
I think it's so in New Orleans we take ownership of our people. Like, by the city being so small and by the music community being so small, a win for you is a win for us. So we want to see all of our people, we want to see our cousins get all the recognition, all the spotlight that they deserve. So even like, you know, when you see something like the Drake video where you Freedia not in it, and then we you know, he come back, he make it right, and then it's like, oh, but it's only like a 1 second cameo. It's like, it still don't sit right with us.
Yeah.
You know, like, we want, okay, we know that our people, we know that Freedia, when she did the songs with Drake, or you know, when our people get featured on these songs and they sample our bounce music, that these people are the elements, the backbone and the foundation of these songs. So why aren't we putting it, like, it's like, I think I saw something where they were doing like the breakdown of production for one of those songs, and I think Black and Mild, who's from New Orleans, did the bounce elements, but Murder Beats did like the other aspects of the production. But Murder Beats is talking about how he was inspired to do whatever, and it's like, bro, like, no, you know. And I know a lot of people like don't say things like that because it's like, oh, I don't want to burn any bridges. And it's not burning bridges, it's just saying what it is. It's like,
don't take credit where you did it.
This
where
is
it's not
us.
due.
This is us.
Yeah.
You know, and again, for a long time, nobody was messing with us on that front. So nobody was even like treating bounce music like a real form of music. They thought it was, you know, it was just, just something that was going to just be niche and it just was going to stay there. But now that it's becoming like the foundation for all these great mainstream songs, it's like now everybody want to claim ownership of it. And it's like, no, bro, that's for us. It's ours.
No, I hear that. And like, it's interesting because you as a producer, like, you don't use bounce that much. Like, you're more so like hip hop and things like that, but like you clearly like respect the genre and like the art of it. So would you ever get into like bounce and creating like bounce music? And
a lot of my songs have elements of bounce in it. Even if it's not like overt, it's still all elements, because I try to use the sounds of my city, and I try to use what I have at my disposal. So like, even on my last album, on Look What We Did, it started off with a Sporty T, who's like a famous like old school New Orleans rapper. It started with a sample of him, and like all those guys, like that early New Orleans rap was an amalgamation of bounce, and all of that was bounce. It was just early hip hop as well, and you know, bounce kind of like deviated from early hip hop, where you had like guys like DJ Jubilee and, you know, all those early influences. Those guys were MCs, but they also were the origins of bounce. So it's like, I use a lot of that stuff, a lot of Partners in Crime and stuff like that. I use a lot of those elements, but I make it into like this palatable hip hop type of thing. But yeah, I always try to use the elements and the sounds of my city.
Okay, so what's like a song where you used an element of bounce? Like give us an example.
Like Mama I Made It. That's like bounce all the way throughout. Like, it starts off, but it's like, you know, it's my version of it. You know, like I can't do what Big Freedia does. I can't do what Hot Sizzle does. Like, those people are just talented and they do what they do really well. So I think for me, it's like trying to figure out, how do I take what I do well and, you know, what I grew up on, my influences, and how do I make it my own thing.
And who are your influences?
So locally or just period?
Let's do both.
So locally, I mean, I'm inspired just by the sounds that I grew up around. I mean, like I said, like DJ Jubilee, like Partners in Crime, just that early stuff where it had that gritty feel. It's like you can't recreate that. Like, you know, when you hear people use that Trigger Man beat, and it's a different type of feel, and you can't really recreate it anywhere because you had to grow up on it. Like, it's just, and like that's, and I ran away from those influences for a long time. You know, I wanted to just.
Wait, why'd you run away?
I think it's
was it part of the stigma?
It's like, when I was growing up, we had gravy and rice so much to now I'm an adult and I just don't want to eat gravy and rice. To what, like, sometimes now it's like, if you have that that craving for it is like you gotta scratch that itch. It's like, I don't know, like I think growing up I it was around me so much. My dad DJing at the family events and stuff like that, so that's all I heard. Those beats, that's all I heard. So it's like, just for me, like wanting to hear something else. So then when I got exposed to like Nas, It Was Written, when I got exposed to Reasonable Doubt, then it was like, oh shit, like other type of music exists, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, my mom, she had me on like Rod Stewart, Elton John, you know, Fleetwood Mac, stuff like that.
Oh, hell
so
yeah.
like I'm a lot more influenced by those artists. It's just that, you know, when I was coming up, it was hip hop was the avenue, and I'm not a great vocalist, so it's like, you know, I'll get it out by being an MC.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to like indie or like, you know, I feel like black people, we joke about like our favorite white artists. And for me, that's Phoenix. Like, I love Phoenix. But,
Okay.
like, you know, like, how do you use the inspiration from, like, a different sound and, like, you know, incorporate it into your, like, hip-hop? Because you get it on the flip side, too. You get, like, white artists on their acoustic, like, doing a rendition of, like,
Definitely.
a hip-hop song. And, like, I love that. I love, like, showing love across, like, genres. So, like, how do you, like, use that inspo? Or what is it about, like, a Fleetwood Mac song that, like, you know, draws you to creating a beat or creating a song or a lyric?
I think it's funny because it's like having my mom like saying like, okay, well, you know, just listen to the words, listen to what they saying, listen to how they saying it, and then hearing Tupac express himself in a similar way, and it's like, oh wait, like these are linear paths, and I didn't have to pick a side. There was duality in being an artist, and then finding out like that a lot of these hip hop artists are inspired by some of the same people. It's like, you know, then when hip hop goes through the revolution of artists like being who they are, like Andre 3000, where it's like, all right, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing throwbacks anymore. Like, this is me. I want to wear, you know, I want to wear a dashiki
Damn near
or
nothing.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so.
I love you, Andre.
But I think like it showed me like that I don't have to be confined to what my genre might be on the surface. So it's like hearing these different artists, like I'm inspired by all, like anybody. I mean, I remember like hearing like I remember hearing like this indie band called Sales. They had this song, and I just remember listening to it and not even just wanting to sample it, but just like the way they were talking, the way like the stuff they were saying, it made me want to just rethink like how I say what I say, and is there a different way I can say it, and like have it to where it's as honest as possible. Just want to be honest.
Okay. And like that's interesting because like Nola like is described as like eclectic. Y'all are like, you do your own thing. Y'all are very original, but like you still felt the pressure to basically like adhere to, you know, the norm of like a hip hop, you know, like a guy in hip hop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So what was like some of the things that you were doing that you you finally moved on from, and you're like, man, forget this. Like, I don't need to be doing this. Like,
I think early on, especially like when you're a teenager, like I'm 15 and you know I'm wearing my tall tees with my black G Nikes. You know what I'm saying? I'm on demon time, and I'm hanging out with my homies, and they in gangs, and you know, even like when I met my wife, like, you know, she was like, you know, I don't see that being you. And it was like, well, no, it's not. But, and she was like, well, just wear what you want to wear. Just dress how you want to dress. Act
so
how
she
you want to.
shout out to wife. She free.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like, you know, for a long time, it's like, especially here, you become who you have to be to survive. So if the people that I eat with, the people that I share meals with, we running the streets, if we, you know, stealing, if we doing all kind of nefarious acts, you know what I mean? Like if we doing that, and again, these are people I share meals with, then I'm going to somewhat conform to what my environment is dictating.
Yeah, the you are who you hang around kind
Definitely,
of thing. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And you know, like a lot of those dudes are dead in jail, and it's like, you know, I don't wonder, but I often like think like, damn, like how different would my life be if I wasn't being true to myself, if I didn't stop to just be me. I'd probably be dead or in jail.
Yeah, and like it's, you know, especially like as someone who's in the North and in New York, like there's a big like pressure to like live what you rap, and like you see a lot of like artists like, you know, doing all these like activities that they don't necessarily need to be doing, or like they feel like it's like a rite of passage or something like that. So it's like a lot of times when you're not on that type of time and you're an artist and you're in the industry and you know you try to keep it clean, you get a lot of slack from people that's like, you know, like, oh, you know, what do you know about the struggle and this and that, and like, you know, how do you navigate that, like being like, I'm gonna stay true to myself, you know what I mean, I'm a family man, about my music, about this, that, and the third, but you know people are like wanting me to get in and dibble dabble in some mess,
right?
You know what I mean?
I think people do a good job of deciphering who's real and who's not. I was teaching music production at prison, like maybe like a couple months ago.
Oh, dope.
And like the first thing I'm thinking is, like, if I'm not honest, like, cause I know some people like they go into situations like that, like even like when you see like the locked up shows and stuff like that, and they're like, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna show them I'm an alpha, I could do this and I could do that, and it's like my whole thing was like, I have to be as honest as possible. I have to be myself, and I'm not gonna be anything other than that. So you know, I get in there and like a lot of my students are like murderers, you know, killers. They not coming home, and like even like the first day, like they trying to do these little tricks to like trying to feel me out to see, you know, oh, where you from and all that, you know, and it's just like, again, that's not important. That's not what I'm here for. And you know, like by the end of the program, it's like, you know, you got these dudes who society's kind of written off, and they have a level of respect for what I do, to where they're not speaking out of turn in class. They're not being disruptive. And these are people, like I said, that when they were free, you know, they did whatever they had to do to get them landed in here, right? And these are, you know, like, especially like when I see like rappers on the internet, these are the dudes that they're lying about being. You know what I'm saying? These are the real killers. These are the real, these are the real robbers. And it's like, these dudes not looking to me to be them. You know what I'm saying? So like when you in that place and you in those environments and you see the people who really bout that shit, like the people who really did it, and they like, oh man, I respect you. Thank you so much for talking to us like real people. Like, you know, and not talking to us about bullshit. It's like they appreciate the level of authenticity that I bring. So like I never needed validation from people who were seeking validation, you know?
And I love that. And see, earlier when we were talking, I thought you were a earth sign because you seemed so grounded. I found out you're in fact a Libra.
And what's a Libra? What's that? What sign is that?
That is like your birthday's in...
It's on the 30th of this month.
September. Yeah, so yeah, you're a September, October baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Libra sign.
Yeah. But like, is it, you said earth sign, like what I don't know the difference.
Because you're an air sign.
Okay, that's air sign. All right, nice.
And you know, that makes sense. I'm a fire sign. I'm an Aries. So anyone who's into zodiac, you see why I'm acting like this. But like, basically, we are cardinal signs, and like, we're basically polar opposites, which is cool. Like I said, I feel like, you know, I work very well with Libras. I love working with Libras. But Libras get on my nerves otherwise. And I'm an Aries, so I get on everyone's nerves, so, you know. But like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you're very grounded. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're very like assured in who you are, and that's really refreshing, because in this kind of industry you get a lot of people who are like constantly trying to put on and trying to show like, I'm of worth, I know this person, I know that person, and you know what I mean? Like, how do you like bypass all of that?
I think I've had a bunch of opportunities to sell my soul early, and you know, just kind of like understanding that what I want to build for myself and what I want to build for my family is larger than any entity that I could attach myself to right now, just for short-term gain. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so easy to just say, oh, well, their boat is already built, so I'm just gonna go float with them. instead of like saying like, all right, well, I have all the supplies I need to build my own boat, so why not just take the time, I build my own boat, and then I don't have anybody, telling me that I'm, first mate, I could be the captain. So it's a big difference.
Yeah. So you value ownership, like a certain sense of like freedom, you know what I mean? Like those are values to you. And like, you mentioned your family, like, so would you consider yourself, I get the vibe, you're like a family man.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I see you post your kid a lot, you know what I mean? I feel like, and that to me, I'm always like very like excited to speak with people in the industry who are like big on family, because a lot of culture in hip hop is like baby mama, baby daddy culture, and everyone's going on live, putting they partner on blast, and it's like all this like disrespect. So like for you, how are you on the flip side? Like what does it mean to you to be a family man? Did you always know that you wanted to be a family man, or did you have that like pressure to like be a fuckboy? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure. I mean, I think my influences were always like instability. That was always my influence early. My mom was super like adamant on raising me to be the man she wished she had. I think it's a juggling act though, especially when you have a family and you have to be gone, you have to be on the road, you have to do these things, and it's like that. Yes, there's temptation out there. I think the biggest thing to remember is though, that's my son's mom, and I wouldn't want nobody playing on my
fellas
mama.
Listen,
I wouldn't want nobody playing on my mama.
Yeah.
I remember like at one point my mom went through like this real bad breakup, and I remember like my brother and I like plotting like we were gonna beat this dude up, man, like he was gonna get it, like and then it's like I can recall like my wife telling me something like, how you gonna be mad at somebody playing with your mom and you playing with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, you a hypocrite. You mad at this dude for playing with your mama, like, and you playing in my face. You know what I'm saying? So it's like...
So she give it to you straight. She,
listen,
okay, I like her.
Listen.
Yeah.
Like, I have to keep that in mind. And also, like, like I said, that comes with, how I carry myself, how I move in public, like, that's his mom. So, like, when he's 18 or whatever, 16 or whatever, like, dude, don't play with my mama. All right, you got that. You're right. You know what I'm saying? So I keep that in mind. Like, I respect myself. I respect my wife, but more than anything, I respect my son. I think the value that I have on his opinion on me is kind of like what keeps me like grounded. Cause like it's so easy, like especially like when you're with somebody for so long and it's like, yeah, to a certain extent you're tethered through all these different ways, whether it's financially, whether like you share a home, yeah, you're tethered like that. But it's like when you share a person with somebody, you know what I mean, like it gives you a completely different outlook on like, man, like even if I don't like you today, like I still gotta make sure you eat, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like couples, they argue, they go through stuff,
of course,
but it's like even if I don't like you, like I still gotta make sure you're straight, because we share a person together more than anything. It's like I could love you regardless, right?
Right, you can love her from a distance, but
you could love people no matter what. But it's like watching her be his mom is like a different level of respect, is a different level of adoration for a person. Men have this idea of what they're supposed to be based on social constructs and based on what everybody's telling them they need to be, and to a certain extent, like whether you believe it or not, it's always still gonna be in the back of your head. Like there's nothing like you could do to shake it, because you have the TV telling you, you have the radio telling you, you have all these different influences, and it's like you have to see it on your own though. Like you could want somebody to be good, you could want somebody to be a great person as much as you want, right? You could just want for them. It's just want. It's like that person has to actually say, you know what, I want to be different, I want to change. And I think for a long time, I think most of my family, even in terms of just me being more responsible, me being more assertive with my goals, just all those things, it's like I've never had a template on what I need to be doing. Like like both of my fathers, like they were just doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have a blueprint. Like, so I'm basically learning as I go along. And that's what, you know, what I was like, please, I'm just freestyling right now, you know? So I think people try. You know, nobody's perfect.
No, hello, yeah, and but see, even that is like encouraging, because like you, like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, like if he didn't have like, you know, like the best father, like he's not gonna be the best father, and it's like, that's not true, because like I'm just me and you, and I've already seen like through social media, like, yeah, you love your kid and you're present in your child's life, and it's like, once again, when guys are in the industry and like they are like very active in their kid's life, like that is really refreshing, and like I think that's important, like visibility, because it's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be like, oh yeah, my dad's gonna be like a famous, you know, artist, so I never see him and he'll throw me money here and there. Like, no, like you can have stories of like y'all played together, y'all went to see this, that, and the third, you know what I mean, and like you did right by his mom and like all of that. Like that is like, it's doable. So I'm just saying, for all y'all out here looking for that baby mama story and struggle, like, free yourselves. Like, marriage is cool, and talk about marriage, because people act like marriage is like at the end, and I feel like it's the beginning.
I think it's like the thing about marriage is we live in a time right now where everybody wants everything to be perfect every day, and it's not, right? It's just finding somebody that you're willing to not have perfect days with. You know what I mean? Like, because it's easy, like when things are going good, it's so easy to just be in the pictures, posting and at dinner and all of that. It's easy. Like, that's the easiest parts, right? It's like to be happy. Like, there's nobody's like griping about, man, I'm so happy over here. This shit sucks. Like, nobody's saying that. It's like, it's the days like, you know, you might have had a long day and I might have had a long day. And, you know, you should have took the trash out, bro. Like,
I was gonna say, but that's
politicians still like,
there, the trash, yeah.
And it's just like, it's not really about the dishes. It's just about the idea, like, maybe you should have thought about me. And like, I haven't been like great all the time in that aspect. You know what I mean? Especially as an artist, and I think being an artist kind of like clouds my judgment about, you know, what's important. Cause like I'm thinking like, yeah, like 5 years from now, like you won't even be worried about that. Like, it's not even gonna be a big deal to you. And she's like, it's not about 5 years from now. Like, dude, I just need, just do it now.
Today.
Like, it will mean something to me now.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I think marriage is a balance of patience and just getting over the tribulations, because you know it's something better after that. You know what I mean? And it's like you think about your first time riding a bike and it's like, damn, like it sucks, like I fell. It's like you get back on though, and then you're better. Like now you ride through the city, right? And it's like, I've seen a lot of people like get in these relationships and it's happy and oh, we're good, and they showing everybody, look how good we are, look how good we are. And then when it's bad, it's just like, oh, I want somebody who could do this. It's like, no, dude, like I honestly would say I was built, you know, like she kind of like pieced me together over the years. It's like when we got together, like I was unemployed, I had a low inspiration, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't goal oriented, and it's like, no, like you're who I want, and we're gonna make you goal oriented. We're gonna make you, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, she had a bad temper, and it's like, no, over the year we're gonna make you patient. And it's like you just build each other up. And then it's like,
what's her sign?
Gemini.
I think that's a great
pair.
Yeah. Okay, go off.
So, you know, it's really like about, for me, like I've built the woman that I want. So like, why am I gonna build this woman up for somebody else to take her? Like, no, like this is who I want. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all the things that we've grown to love about each other, like why would I go look for that in somebody else when I already have it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like, and also it's like I would go through these spells where I would travel and I would come back and I would be different, and I didn't know how to express that, because, you know, you go to Africa, you come back and it's like those experiences change you, and not being able to communicate that, hey, look, I'm not the same person as I was when I left, is like it's taught me just like the value of communication and the value of, just experiencing things with your people. And that's another reason why I'm so driven to be successful and have my family successful as well, because I want these experiences with my family, because it's bittersweet, like when you do these things and you come back and you're like, yeah, you should have seen it, babe, it was, and it's like, oh well, next time I want you to go with me.
Okay, so you try to have your family on the road with you as you reach your heights.
Even if it's not on the road, like I want my son to know what it's like to, be on the other side of the world. Like I want my wife to know what it's like to be on the other side of the world. I want my mom to know what that's like. You know what I mean? Like I want my family to know what that's like, because I don't want to be the only one at the dinner table with experiences to share. I don't want to sit at the table and it's just, remember when we did this, and remember in the past when we did these things. It's like, it's going to be fun to look forward to doing things with my family and having these experiences with my family, because the first time I went out the country, I cried, I'm just a kid.
And where'd you go?
The first time I went to South Africa. And
great first trip out the country.
yeah, we went to the jazz festival. But it shakes your foundation, like to know that the world is bigger than New Orleans. And I want that for my whole family. I want everybody to be able to experience that.
And so once again, going back to like New Orleans artists, people, y'all have there's enough room in the sun for everyone kind of energy, and like that's so different from like other regions when it comes to hip hop, and like, you know what I mean, like everyone wants to be the one that has like the power, you know what I mean. Like how has moving in a way where like, everyone can, get a piece of the pie, like affected, you as a person, you as a creator, all that?
I think I was lucky to have mentors who saw more than just themselves. So I've been working under Raj since like 2013. Another one of my mentors, Irvin Mayfield, the jazz musician, and he put me on game with this book, and I forgot the name of the book. I think it's like The Science of Getting Rich or something like that. But the overall theme of the book is, there's no opportunity that's for you that you won't get. And I think, there are people who want to be gatekeepers for everything. There are people who still feel like, oh, it should run through me. But I think like even like my introduction to like being in the music industry, like I was with jazz musicians and shit. So like all those dudes collaborate on all they shit. Even if they if I play trumpet as my show and you come to my show, we gonna play trumpet together. If you know what I'm saying, like these dudes like are all about collaboration. That's why like they always at each other's shows. They always on each other albums and all that. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's a sense of community in those ecosystems, and it's like I've always tried to make that translate here with hip hop. But hip hop is like is competition based, and it's super like like alpha driven. So it's like it's a challenge, and that's like even like the song Limb Bias. Like that was the whole purpose of it. It's like I had gone and worked with all these jazz musicians, and I've seen like, man, these dudes share a plate. So it's like, well, I could do that. You know what I mean? And even like the fact that, like I could get these guys to come, and like all of these guys are like super like big bravado and stuff like that, and to get them to come and rap on my beat and be cool with, saying words that I made up. It's
Oh, you wrote the lyrics for everyone?
No, the Die Before My Time, You'll Never See My Prime, and getting them to repeat that and kind of like have some type of like structure to the song, where you have all these MCs, all these lyricists on this one song and having some form of structure. It's like all that's like inherited from jazz. But like my mentors, like you see with Raj, like Irvin, like all these guys are like really into passing the ball so somebody else could score. Yeah, but I think who you come up under is also, a good indicator of Yeah.
Who you keep close to
right,
get. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Well, let's get into Len Bias, because when that dropped, I was like blown away by the production by each like artist, and like I've been following Don Flamingo for years, and I learned that you were the producer, and then I like started following you, and I'm like, this project is dope because first of all, Len Bias' story, like, it's sad, like it was sure. Like, and so what inspired you to name the song after him?
I just always have this idea of, not like unfulfilled potential. Like if I were to go right now, like what could be what would be my narrative? Like what would my story be if I went right now? Like what impact would I leave? And just really like it started off with just wanting to write some crazy shit. I just wanted to flex my muscle a little bit, and started off like that. And my partner Andre, he's like my business partner, and he had this idea. He was like, man, we should make like a super rap track. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, he was like, we should like just recruit like all of these like highly talented people from the city. But Don Flamingo was the last person to send his verse, and it's funny because like I didn't even know him. I only knew of him, but I didn't even know him personally before I reached out to get the verse from him. I just kind of cold called him. I was like, yo, like, I want you on this song. And he was like, yo, I fuck with what you do. And I'm like, oh, shit, for real? He's like, yeah.
Dang, man. Oh, so he knew you.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
And I was like, word. Like, okay, yeah. Well, you want to do the song or what? Like, he was like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Then I told him I had King Hakeem on that, and like they worked together a few times. So, like, but it was cool to watch all that kind of come together, and even like watch him somewhat tell his story on the song. It was dope. Like, I was super honored to be able to do something like that.
Yes, and like the beat. Well, first of all, before we even get into the beat, like when it comes to producers, I have a hot take. I feel like if you don't play an instrument, you're not a producer. How do you feel about that?
I don't play an instrument.
And you're a producer, all right.
I mean, I sample, and I think, so I used to feel like that, and I used to use that idea to discredit myself until, you get in a room with people and they value what your ideas are, they value what you bring to the table, and then it's like, again, I'm in a room with people who play instruments and they're coming to me for ideas.
I was just so sure you played an instrument though. No. So you I'm being debunked over and over again. Okay.
So I play the drums on my computer. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean you plugging stuff up in the box, and that's the new instrument. That's the new wave. It's like you think about most of the songs on the radio, like those guys are playing those chords, they're finding those progressions on a keyboard. You know what I mean? And not a keyboard. So
right.
It's we live in a different time now. Like, I know people who they don't necessarily play an instrument, but they use their voice as an instrument. Like, now there's this new software where you don't need a keyboard. You can sing the notes and it'll play it out on like a keyboard. So
that's fire. Yeah, I know artists who do that too.
Yeah.
Like we're like and then like the musician, but now the app will do it instead.
Yeah. So it's like, we live in a time, I think after a while, it's like you have a microchip in your head and you be able to produce like that. So, it's forever changing. It's, it's good though, because it's like we're in a position now where we could get more ideas out. But no, I don't play an instrument.
Okay, no judgment.
No, it's cool.
And like, I mess with your production, so look, hey, like you producer, period. So like, but so with the production of Len Bias, like, it starts off kind of like, not groggy, but like just like deep and low, and then like this chorus. So what was like the feeling you were trying to evoke with that production, and like what was like some of the I heard like strings, I heard like bass, of course. Like what was like in the composition?
I think originally, so I started off with the beat before I wrote it, and I forgot which studio. I think I was at another studio, but I was in the studio and I heard this sample, and it was like just that dum 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 dum, and I'm like, oh, this is cool as hell. Like, it just felt dark, it felt ominous. So I started chopping that up, and then I just laid the verse first, and again I sat on the song for a while, And again, my partner was like, you should make it bigger. Like let's big it up. Like, so then I added like some strings, some guitar, and a bass line and some, you know, more drums and stuff like that. We kind of built it up after, like, it was like, oh, we have all these verses, because I had already gotten the verses back from everybody at that point. And then when they sent me their verses, because I sent them just like this stripped down version of the beat, that's when I kind of built around more just, you know, elements on top of the vocals that I got.
Okay, so but the main feeling was like dark, ominous, like
Yeah.
like how was Len Bias playing into the track Len Bias? Like, was he supposed to be kind of like hearing y'all out? Was he supposed to be expressing through these artists? Like,
I think so when I wrote the verse, and then I said at the end, I was like, die before my time, you'll never see my prime. And then I just kept like ringing in my head. I'm like, and then I realized I watched the like one of the specials on, you know, Len Bias or whatever. So it's kind of like one of those things where you kind of, you leave the door cracked, and, you know, God do the rest, because I can't take like amazing credit for, oh, I just knew it was going to be about Len Bias, and it was just one of them things where it's like your subconscious kind of like does the work for you, and, you know, it kind of became the theme, and that's why, you know, everybody else kind of like led with that. But yeah, I can't take full ownership of those ideas sometimes. It just is what it is, you know.
sometimes it's just like some weird alignment going on.
For sure.
Or, okay, well, but that's like such a like dope track, and like the lyrics were like very like heavy, and I feel like when it comes to Southern rap, New Orleans in particular, would you agree that people are like more lyrical here, at least with Lil Wayne? Like, he's got like, I mean, and it's more wordplay, like it's still like fun, but like y'all get into the lyrics.
Well, I think what people have to understand is like, especially like in the early '90s, New Orleans was a major port city, and I mean we still are a major port city, but like, you know, like Miami is kind of taking some of the, you know, traffic that we would have gotten in terms of just the influx of just anything, right? So like that's why like New Orleans kind of like, we carry ourselves different than like the rest of Louisiana. So like if somebody say you from Louisiana, it's like, no, I'm from New Orleans, because New Orleans is like a completely different subculture, and it's like it's just its own thing.
It's like Miami to Florida, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's by being its own thing. It's like, you know, we were up on like Bally Animals, like we, you know, like we want Air Force, we call them G-Nikes. We were up on those first, like, you know, like a lot of stuff that was going on up north, and especially because you have like a lot of people who, like, you know, they might come from all these different walks of life coming here because it was a major port city, because you had a lot of imports, a lot of stuff went through New Orleans, so a lot of stuff that went through New Orleans stayed here. And like fashion, like Ralph Lauren and stuff like that, a lot of stuff that they were on early, like when they were setting the tone in hip hop and stuff like that in New York, was also down here, because it had to get there to get here before, like, you know, air travel was, you know, a big thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when those ships were coming in and they were bringing that you know, those imports, a lot of that stuff, when we was knocking over them containers, it's the same reason why, you know, they had so many weapons and, you know, stuff like that here in the early 90s when it was the murder capital, is because a lot of those gun containers and stuff like that were getting knocked over, just like a lot of those, like, you know, clothing containers were getting knocked over, and we were finding stuff that was falling off the back of a truck, you know. So I think a lot of that influenced why we like, oh, well, we ain't really doing that. We want to show that we have lyrics. We want to show that we have some know-how, because it's almost like, you know, we'll leave the crunk Atlanta, we'll leave, you know, the snapping and all that, especially like when we like in early 2000s, like a lot of dudes was down here like rapping like they was like ready for Rockefeller, you know what I mean? Like even like when you talk about like the Squad and stuff like that, you had dudes like Dizzy, you know, like early 2010s, or even like earlier than that, you had Don Flamingo, you know, like you had dudes that were like really like saying, like you had the Goons, like dudes who were really saying like, no, like I'm from New Orleans but I'm lyrical.
Yeah.
And those are the dudes like that inspired a lot of young guys coming up, and that's why you have like this influx of like dudes from New Orleans who are like really trying to prove like, no, I'm lyrical, and I could go toe to toe with anybody from anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, like with Lil Wayne being like literally one of the GOATs and from New Orleans, you would think that would be enough. But I feel like, do you feel like y'all still get like flack and like no, y'all like do you still feel left out of the conversation of hip hop when it comes to New Orleans and being like you said, going toe to toe with anyone?
I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like we left out of the conversation because like I feel like right now we're driving the culture. You look at Beyonce album, Frida's on Beyonce album. You look at, you know, Drake and everything that's New Orleans inspired from Drake. Chris Brown just dropped a bounce song. You know, I think the sound of New Orleans is driving the culture right now. I don't think we left out. Mm-hmm. I do think that we are looked over in terms of business though.
Not getting the credit and like
Definitely. Well, I just feel like, you know, with everything, with New Orleans driving so much in the industry, there aren't any, you know, label offices down here. There aren't any ASCAP BMI offices down here. There aren't any like a Nashville, where you have like what Nashville, like they have their own ecosystem where you don't have to leave Nashville. Atlanta, you don't have to leave Atlanta. It's like New Orleans, we do enough in just the music culture, the movie culture. We do enough, but we don't have these major offices down here. It's like they come here, get what they need to get, and they leave. So, you know, I think we're looked over in that aspect because it's like, if you just put a hub here, you'd be surprised, like, just how much you could get out of it.
Yeah, and do you feel like there's like an environmental or economical like concern with these big companies because like y'all are at sea level, you know what I mean, and like. I mean, well, so is Miami. They
right.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
so
right,
it's like.
Right. All right. Answer my own question.
I think the reluctance comes from it being a black city, and you look at Atlanta. They built their own city. They told them like, hey, you don't have to come here. We'll do it ourselves. And I think, you know, we will probably have to adopt a similar ideal. Because this is a predominantly black city, I feel like you can't ever discount the fact that people will always think like, why would I put millions of dollars in the hands of young black people and then give them an opportunity to uplift their communities? Why would I do that when I could just poach what I need from those communities, pay them pennies on the dollar, and just move on? So I think until we adopt the ideals of let's do it ourselves, we don't need them. Because it's obvious they're not coming.
Yeah.
You know, if they were, they would have came a long time ago. You know, I don't think we need anybody to tell us that we hot. We are.
You heard it. You heard it from Flighteous. And like when you think about the resiliency and like the desire to authentically like preserve blackness, like. It is punished, right? Like this always, you see it in Haiti, you see it here, like. But why take the hard road? You know, why not just, you know, oh, okay, I'm gonna just like do music elsewhere, or I'm gonna just, you know what I mean? Like, why stick to the not necessarily the fight, but like, you know, the movement.
I think sadly you kind of caught me at a point where I feel like I'm probably gonna have to leave. You know, I want to be in a position where I can help as many artists as I can, and I think the opportunities are so limited here to where it's like, you know, I could see like that right now, the space that I'm in and the window that I have, I want to utilize it the best way I can. So like I have been going to LA, I have been, you know, moving around and trying to like just plant my feet elsewhere. Because like I said, like I want to be in a position where like I know like so many talented people down here who just don't get the looks that they deserve. So it's like if I could, you know, if I have a connection out there and I could go out there and, you know, just put myself in rooms that I wouldn't normally be in and then come back here and again utilize those resources and say like, you know, and I think, you know, PJ did a good job of that. PJ Morton did a good job of that. Pell did a good job of that. Where it's like you come back and you build your own ecosystem of artists. And it's like the more artists we have doing that, coming back here and saying like, oh no, wait, like here's a platform for this artist. You need to hear this guy. Like he's dope or she's dope. like the more we do that, then that's how you build that community that we don't have right now.
Okay. And like, what is your like thought? That's interesting that I caught you at this time. So like, what's your thought process? What are you worried about? Like, in terms of like leaving?
I think from a social aspect, I got pulled over by the police like 4 times in 1 month.
Oh, where?
In 3 different parishes. Well, no, yeah. So I got pulled over in Mandeville, Louisiana. I got pulled over in Slidell, where I live, twice. I got pulled over in Chalmette. So it was like, and each time like kind of like was like on some driving while black shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I kind of like, and again, I don't have any issues in New Orleans. Like, I don't have any issues with New Orleans police. It's just when you leave New Orleans, you're not in New Orleans no more, and they do a good job of letting you know that this ain't New Orleans. And
I seen some state troopers, and my heart was racing a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
And that's the thing. So it's like, you know, thinking about that and dealing. I have a black son, you know, so those things are important to me. And I'm not saying it won't happen anywhere else, but again, like, I want my family to be safe, so I move them out of New Orleans. But I still have to worry about other factors. Now, it's like, it's not, you know, the house getting shot up by, you know, just random, you know, people. Now it's like him getting pulled over and getting harassed by the police because, you know, he a young dude in a nice car. So it's different now. Like, it's a different level of problems that you face when you live in the outskirts of New Orleans. And from a career standpoint, it's like, you know, having a sister who's who runs a production company and is successful out there, and for a long time not wanting to use nepotism and wanting to like, oh, I'm doing it on my own, and it's like nobody else is like dude, like the white community is not saying, oh, I don't care if my dad runs the company, you know, okay, thanks, Dad. And
hello.
So it's like
no interview, nothing, big money.
Right. Yeah, so if my sister's saying like, come out here, I want to help you, like, I'm gonna let her help me. You know what I mean? So it's like getting in these rooms and.
So was it you that was having the issue with nepotism?
I was, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm trying to take advantage of a relationship. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, like, because my sister lived out, you know, in LA like since like for years, like over 20 years. So it's like, when I talk to her, and it's like wanting to build that relationship organically and like wanting to like really have a relationship with her as my sister. Not just because she knows some people who could probably help me out or something like that. That was super important for me. Because like the last thing I want, like especially like out there and being out there on my own, I've realized that a lot of those people are fake. A lot of those people do have ulterior motives. So it's super important for me for her to know, look, I'm your brother first, you know what I mean? Like, and those exchanges are important for me. Like, I don't want people to have to look at me and question my motives. And I value that because like I feel like that's what equals longevity. Like even like being able to work with Raj, like he knows like it's not based on some type of weird, you know, ulterior motives. It's just like, I'm here because I want to be here, and I'm here because I want to learn this. I want to learn, you know, the small details of things. Yeah.
Right. The integrity is like such a gem. Like, and once again, like I have to say these things when I'm talking to like artists, because it's like, yeah, you get a lot of people who it's like they've got the ulterior motives. They, you know, they are like, you know, being disingenuous, and it's like you can make it and do well because you are doing your thing. You can do it without, you know, being on some snake shit. Like, you don't have to do that.
It's like, vital. Like, it's like the more people we have just with genuine, even like, say for instance, if it is like an ulterior motive, just be upfront with it. And it gets everything, all the weirdness out the way. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I know you make beats. I really would like to work with you. That's different versus being like, yo, what's up, man? Your baby's cute. You know? And then like trying to like fake a relationship over the course of what, you know, a year or something like that, just to be like, yo, we should work. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, just lead with it. If that's what you want to lead with it. Yeah, lead with it. Lead with your intentions. That's all.
Yeah. No, I hear that. So. Yeah, so like, I mean, we've been having a good convo. I know before we got on camera, we were talking about problematic faves. So we could talk about that real quick if you'd like. So who is a problematic fave of yours? And like, you know, let's talk about like the idea of separating the art from the artist.
Probably I've got a few. I like Dave Chappelle. I mean, I don't.
He's a new problematic fave. I think. Yeah.
I like Dave Chappelle. Okay. I like Kanye. I like Louis C.K. I draw inspiration from a lot of weirdos.
Okay, Louis C.K. isn't he like the comedian that like?
Yeah, he would ask people if it was okay to masturbate in front of them, but he was also in a position of power. So like the people who he was asking, they worked for him. So, you know, that could be problematic.
That's very yucky. It makes me feel icky. Yeah. So like what that's not that like is there a line when it comes to a problematic person?
I think like guilty pleasure, R. Kelly, right? Like R. Kelly's music is amazing.
Like you still listen?
I don't, but it's like listen though, like dude is amazing, but it's like, you know, I think I can't get mad if somebody wants to listen to R. Kelly. You know what I mean?
Day?
They have people, like, especially in the South, like, people do not give a shit.
Oh, in the North neither. Like, I hear him during the summer, people blast him.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, I think it's like, we have just this fine line to, you know, to walk, because it's like you think about what certain elements mean for people, especially like growing up, right? It's like, oh, it's not about him, it's about, you know, my childhood. Or is it, you know, you think about like, you know, Kanye is like do I support Trump? No, but you know, I do support the idea that I messed with him for being a free thinker. You know what I mean? So I don't always have to agree with people that I like. You know, I think it goes back to not idolizing people. You can admire somebody, but when you idolize people is when you set yourself up for heartbreak, right? You know, it's like, no, I can't believe it's like, he's a person, you know?
But Kanye hanging out with Trump versus R. Kelly having like a harem of teens in his basement. No. I can't, as much as I used to like his music, like I can't. Kanye, I could bump his stuff. He gets on my nerves. But
I guess I say that to say, like, we didn't know who he, I mean, we kind of had an idea he was a weirdo, but like we didn't have an idea of, you don't have an idea of what people are capable of. So it's like, it's best to just like him at face value. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like heartbroken like when Bill Cosby got in trouble, because it's like, I like the Cosby Show, but like this thing is just Bill Cosby, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, people definitely dragged it with, you know, America's dead.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, like we build people up and we set ourselves up for heartbreak. It's like the best thing you can do is just worry about yourself and mind your business. You know, like that's it.
Yeah. Okay, but you still listen to the Louis C.K. guy, and you.
I do. I think, especially like, you know, I think he made a comment. He was like, he said something like about how it's so weird now that the whole world knows what his thing is. You know, everybody has a thing.
His kink.
Right. You know, everybody has this thing, right? And he was like, now everybody knows what my thing is.
But is it a kink or was it a power play?
Obama knows what my thing is. You know how shitty it is that Obama knows what my thing is? You know, like, and he was like, you know, here's the thing. If you ever want to do that in front of somebody and you ask them and they say, yeah, don't do it anyway. You know, but it's like, you know.
And maybe not let it be your employee.
But apparently this was like.
It's coercive.
Apparently, like, this is like his ongoing thing, you know, like, you know. Ongoing, right?
People have their own.
People have their things, right? Some people like chains and shit. Like, that was his thing. I respect him being upfront about it. I respect, listen, we might as well talk about it because it's out there. You know, I respect that.
I am glad he addressed it, because some people just don't.
I respect that, because it's like when you watch people and they're in these positions and like they evade the elephant in the room, and they evade every type of, just deal with it head on. Like, I always say, like, that's the best PR. Like, just deal with it head on. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I did it. I'm sorry. Like, I messed up. Versus saying, like putting it off, or like you blame the victim, or like you know what I'm saying? Like, just take full responsibility for the shit you did and move on.
Don't you think a lot of people started doing that for clout, though, where they were, like, being problematic, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I was super racist, or yeah, I'm sorry, I was really sexist, I won't do it again. Have an album coming out, though, or watch my new TV show, like...
Again, like, I can't, like, I can't police people's intentions, and I think we are in a time right now, like, where we try too hard to police people's intentions. Like, my firm belief is that if somebody wants to be racist, if somebody wants to be sexist, homophobic, just let them do it. You know what I mean? Like, real shit. No.
Go ahead.
When you force people to believe what you believe, it's like the people who don't, they go underground and they become more radicalized, and they feel like, well, I can't be who I am out in the public, so now, boom, I'm shooting up a school. Boom, I'm radicalized now, because now I have to be who I am to the 10th degree, because now I want to galvanize the people who believe what I believe. I'm a martyr now. You know what I'm saying? Just let them be racist in peace. And if I don't want to go to your barbecue, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I don't, like, your parties will always be whack anyway. Like, I don't care, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the philosophy I live by. I live in Trump land. And I'm sure, like, most of my neighbors are probably racist, but they don't mess with me. I don't mess with them. I don't knock on their door trying to be their black friend. So, it's cool.
I joke with people all the time that, like, the South racism is, like, better because, like, the white people will be pleasant even if they're racist, but in the North it's like you said, the effect of, like, oh, I have to, like, conform to this notion, so I am progressive. And it's like, you've got all these people who are, like, got the Black Lives Matter sign in their window, but they're gentrifying, like, Brownsville. So right. It's like, or, like, they're, like, smiling from ear to ear, like, hey, black person, I'm not nervous right now. Right. Like, all that. But I feel what you said. When it comes to your racist barbecue, what if you're posting your racist barbecue on live and everyone's coming to the camera saying nigger, 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 you know what I mean? Like, what do you do when they're now making giving the impression to other people to be racist, or you've got, like, the kids who it's like messing with their mental, because, like, there's, like, kids on TikTok crying about, like, their health and their they feel unloved and things like that. So, what about that? There's, like, social media now, so you can't just be racist in the cut and that be that.
I think we, because we've come so far socially, we are spoiled to what we feel like we deserve. And I think about the people before us, civil rights movement. It was in the paper. We hate Negroes. We do, you know what I mean? And it's like, my grandmother was a white woman who loved black men. And she had been chased by the Klan, and she had gone through all of these traumatizing experiences just to live in peace with her, black family. And I think hearing those stories and understanding that I've never had to hide in a trench from the Klan while they chase me with torches and rope, because I've never had to deal with that, I think I have it good. So if I see somebody saying, nigger on social media or whatever, I don't want to say I'm not affected by it, but again, like, what does their stupidity have to do with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not that I'm just like, and again, like, even if you talk about, like, indoctrinating, like, children into, like, being racist or whatever like that, because racism is a learned behavior, I think we, us being civilized, us also not caring, you know what I mean? Like, contributes a lot to, people looking at things from a different aspect. I worked with a guy, and he's like a guy from, like, he might be from, like, Mississippi or something like that. And he was like, this was like when I first started like working my 9 to 5. And he was like, Black Lives Matter was like super prevalent on TV and everything like that. And he looked, he's like, I don't understand why, you know, what's the point of that? And I'm like, all right. I was like, what don't you get? He's like, what do they mean Black Lives Matter? Like, what they saying? Like, what, I mean, nobody else matter? I said, I think you're asking the wrong question. He was like, what you mean? I said, if somebody's telling you, hey, I matter, you have to ask yourself, what's being done to those people for them to have to remind you? It's like when I used to get into it with my wife, and she used to be like, hey, you made me feel like that. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't make you feel like. She's like, how are you gonna tell me how you made me feel? You know what I'm saying? And I think we often get into like the semantics of things and like trying to like, you know, get everybody to buy into it because we want a utopian society. We want that. But I think, you know, the best thing we can do is love on who love on us and everything else. Because those people are always going to be there. You know, and as much as it sucks, it's like there's always going to be something. Like, you know, whether it's, you know, black and white, whether it's rich and poor, like there's always going to be some form of discrimination. There's always going to be some form of inequality. And I think until we just learn to leave people alone, then we'll be able to like tackle like the real topics, like, you know, focusing on the children, like focusing on, you know, how do we become better versions of ourselves? Because, you know, like I know crappy people who, you know, yeah, Black Lives Matter to them, but they still crappy people. You know what I'm saying? Just be a better person.
Okay. You believe in the human race?
No,
I'm just kidding.
No.
But I know I feel you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I get that, and like yeah, you gotta like basically do you, be you, and kind of like get around the kind of people and things that you want to get around.
Yeah, I think, you know, we get some of our best ideas, we get some of our best innovations through, you know, alternative thinking. You know, so it's like certain inventions we wouldn't have if like, I'm not saying I'm not, oh, that sounded problematic as hell. Listen, so I was gonna say like black ingenuity comes from black struggle, right? So it's like if we didn't go through these struggles, like we wouldn't have had like certain like, you know, breakthroughs. You know, like even like you don't realize like what you made of until you figure out what, you know, like how to get out of these shitty situations. Mm. How do I climb out of this? All right, well, let me think of something. You know, so now it forces you to be more creative. I'm just saying we won't ever know what we're capable of, you know, if we don't face some form of adversity. And I'm not saying adversity is great, but adversity definitely like shows you who you are. I'm sure like there's some things you've probably been through where you like, damn, like I didn't know I could do that.
Okay. So I hear you. I feel like we could go on and on because I'm like, you know, I still got a little, but I respect that. And like, you know, speaking of like kind of like your mindset around like, you know, problematic faves and just kind of like how you navigate the world, like let's talk about your music videos real quick because like you do kind of like, well, how would you describe your style of music videos? Because it gives kind of like a vlog, you know, like a walk with me kind of vibe. But am I right? Is it a little different?
I don't take myself too serious. Like I don't, and I also like I don't care to like shit on people. Like, so, you know, I'm not renting Ferraris. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not renting jewelry. Like I know people who rent jewelry. I know people who put the 200s on the stack of the ones. You know what I'm saying? Like I know dudes who are doing that, and it's like, again, like I've been in this long enough to know like somebody gonna catch you at Applebee's. You know what I'm saying? Like it is bound to happen. So I'm not trying to sell no dream. I'm just like however the music making me feel, and however we translate it. Like my boy Jody is like he does a real good job of like translating my music with his vision. Mm-hmm. So I think most of the videos like I can't take credit for because it's like, you know, I work with a group of people who do a good job of like holding each other accountable and just trying to like get the best out of whatever we do, but also like trying to be as honest as possible and trying to be like as down to earth as possible. And you know, we kind of like make everything we do for the everyday person, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the best way I could put it.
And I like the idea of not taking yourself so seriously. And like, you do a video for every song, or like, you know, are you more so like which songs? How do you select which song you're gonna do a video for?
Usually, like, we have like this group chat, and like they'll be like, we need to do this one, but we probably should do it for every song, you know, just to, you know, challenge ourselves. But you know, we are a group of guys with families and kids and life, so it's like we try to do as much as we can, and we try to balance it, but it's really like whatever touches us, like whatever hits at the moment. Like, all right, we like, even like I did a video for this song called Cool. It wasn't on the album, it wasn't on anything, it's just, I just did a song, I sent it to my friends, and they were like, yeah, we doing a video for this. So it just happened like that. Sometimes it's spontaneous. So
okay, it's just like whatever the group is feeling, vibing. Okay,
it's definitely a committee.
Okay, so like, is everyone a producer in this committee, or is it like everyone plays different parts?
Everybody plays different parts. So like my boy Andre, he's more like into like the oversight, scheduling, just ideas in general. He's not a musician, but I've been working with him for almost over 10 years. And my boy Jody, who does Chop by Jody, who does most of the visuals. He also does some production. He's like super like talented producer. He sells like guitar riffs to like some of the top producers. Like, he's worked with like Money Man and all these different artists, but also like a super accomplished director. He's worked with the History Channel and stuff like that. So
dope.
Yeah, like these guys are like, you know, super serious about what they do, and they also just super serious about just being dope. So like, that's the type of people I like to surround myself with.
Okay, so yes, like who you like, and what classifies someone as like a dope person, where you're like, you know, I want you in my life.
I think it's just like these dudes like have ideas where I'm just like, I wish I thought of that. You know, like they have ideas where it's like, I mean, most ideas are derivative, right? But they have ideas where I feel like it's like it hasn't been done, or I haven't seen it done, or in the capacity that they want to do it. You know, even like I got a homeboy, Jaron Mitchell. He's an actor. He did like Queen Sugar. He did like a bunch of different films and stuff like that. And even like talking with him and like and understanding like, you know, these people have a vision for just how things are supposed to look, how things are supposed to feel.
So like, with all that we've talked about you, like we haven't talked about your name, Flighteous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, pretty much a play on righteous, but like, you know, what's the backstory behind that name?
I was just a kid in high school, and I came up with something. I wish like I had a epiphany, but it really like I thought of it, and I put flight and righteous together, and it's one of them things where like I wasn't even calling myself that, like, but because I would put it on like all my little MySpace pictures and stuff like that, and then my Facebook and all that, then people would just start calling me that. That wasn't even like, I went through like so many different stage names, but that wasn't even like my stage name. At one point I was going by my real name, Raj. But like, even like when I would see people out, they'd be like, oh, you Flighteous. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I guess it just kind of stuck. Like I didn't pick that name for myself. Like people kind of picked it for me, because it was on everything that I did. So, you know, again, it's one of them things where you can't take complete ownership of it, because it just becomes what it is, you know.
Like, but why flight? Like, did you like airplanes, or like, you know what I mean? Like what?
I think at the time, like, you know, like everybody was like really into like being fly, and you know, like it was a fly time, like, you know, like that's like, you know, like especially like black people, like they went through like that revolution, like what we were getting more into fashion, and like it was like, you know, how can we, you know, make statements with our clothes, you know. I mean, like, we always were into that culturally, but it was like, you know, everything was just like, let's take it to the next level, you know. Like black people started wearing like suits more, and, you know, like you saw like Jay-Z in the suits. It's like everybody wanted to be fly, and I think, you know, I was just like trying to like find like a play on like, okay, how could I be flyer than that, you know, like, so I needed something to put on my MySpace pictures and stuff like that. So it was like Flighteous. All right, yeah, that's gonna work.
Okay, and it's dope that like you didn't even tell people to call you that, but like they started to. They was like, okay, I like that, and it works. And it's like that name really caught me too when I saw like, you know, the Lem Bias, and I said, Flighteous, like that's a cool ass name, like, so you know what I mean, like there's power to the name, and it's like those are two like really like profound words to use and like you know, put together to make, you know, who you are. So
yeah. I lucked up.
Yeah, right. And I'm pretty sure you are the only Flighteous that probably won't be the only one, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Yeah, so, period. So, I mean, is there anything else, we talked about a lot, is there anything else you wanted to say, leave the people with, or, you know, anything upcoming you got going on?
I'm working on an album. I don't have a title yet, but more than anything, I just want to thank you for taking your time out and talking to me. Is really dope. It's really dope to meet you in person. Thank you so much.
Yes, we've been like what, few years, like, you know, showing each other love musically, and like now and I'm honored, like truly so honored. So like this has been great. So like, y'all, this is Becca Rose with Flighteous. Please check him out. I'll plug in his socials, but you know, thank you for tuning in, and goodbye, world.